Hey everybody, welcome back to another exciting class. Today we are going to be talking about the order of operation. If you have your book, we are on page number 6, which is Chapter 1, Lesson 2. Chapter 1, Lesson 2. All right, so what we're going to do today is we're going to go through and we're going to talk about order of operation. Now, if you've been in my class for any number of years, you already know the order of operation, or at least I hope you already know the order of operation. But one thing that we're going to do here in this section is we are going to just kind of learn a little bit more about the order of operation and take it to the next level. Add just a little bit, not really, but kind of. There's still only 4 steps. We're just going to add just a little bit to those 4 steps. So let's start off with the first one. And I know you can't talk to me on the video, but I can pretend like you're talking to me. So, and you can actually say it in your house. That's fine. You can talk to me, and I'll pretend like I'm hearing you. Okay. So who remembers what the first step of the order of operations are? Okay. So step number 1. And some people use the thing Pemdas to help them with that. I don't use Pemdas because I think it confuses students. So, I just use 4 steps. And so the first one is the first thing that we always want to do is we always want to do parentheses. Or I always say parent. You'll see what I mean. Parent. Right? Hesses. Parent Hesses. Parentheses. No, parentheses. It's spelled the same way, though. I don't know why. I don't know why English is so weird, right? I mean, this is why I teach math, okay? You can always break the rules in English, and it's fine, and everything sounds different. But you break the rules in math, you're in trouble. So I like that. We always have a set of rules. We know how to follow the rules, okay? And we always get the right answer. That's math. And so I like math for that reason. But anyways, English is silly. Parentheses. What do parentheses look like? Well, they look like this, okay? So you're always going to want to put it into parentheses. Now, one thing with parentheses that you have to realize is it's not really just parentheses. There are other things that can potentially be in that first step. One of those things is something that we would call brackets. Okay? So you might see some brackets. There's also some of these other things. I can't draw these. Students always laugh at me when I try to draw these. Okay? Because they always look weird. Braces, sometimes they're called, but anyways, those things, I know it doesn't look very good, but I'm not a good drawer, and I'm not your art teacher. And we've kind of already talked about those in the past years. You've already seen those things. Well, the newest one, the one that we're really adding this year is I'm going to just write a bar like this, and we're going to call it the, let me see here, fraction bar. The fraction bar. In other words, you don't have to do the division, but you have to solve what's on top of the fraction bar and what's on the bottom of the fraction bar before you can do anything else. You have to solve your fraction bars. You have to solve the top, solve that. Then skip down to the bottom and solve that. So that is in the parentheses step. That is in the parentheses step, is the fraction bar. Okay, number 2. The second thing that we want to do when we're solving order of operation, when we're solving math or algebra problems, is we always want to do the exponents. Do the exponents next. Okay, so any exponents, we talked about those just a little bit in the last lesson. So anytime you see an exponent, you're going to do that after you do the parentheses. Okay, after you do the parentheses. And then that will lead us to step number 3, and that is multiply. I'll write it this way. Let's say multiply. Or, and I like the word or there. You can write and if you want to, but I like the word or. Divide from left to right. From left to right. I don't know why it's doing that to me. From left to right. Now that is important. And here's a mistake that a lot of students make. A lot of students will just say, okay, I have to multiply, that's first, and then divide, that's next. No, wrong. And that's why I don't like Pemdas, because Pemdas says, here's Pemdas, P-E-M, Pem, and then D. That's wrong, okay? It's not P-E-M and then D. It's parentheses first, then exponents, then multiply or divide, whichever one comes first. You're going to start on the left, and then you're going to work your way to the right. Start on your left, work your way to the right. And so you always want to do parentheses, exponents, multiply, and divide in the same step. Okay? It's not multiply, then divide. That will mess you up. So multiply or divide from left to right. And then that will bring you to the final step. Step number 4 is add or subtract. And then it would be the same, this again, from left to right. And I'm not going to write that twice. Okay? So you would multiply and or divide. And then in the next step, you would add or subtract, whichever one comes first. If multiply comes first, multiply first. If divide comes first, divide first. Okay? So then in step 4, if a subtraction comes before an addition, then you do the subtraction first. Then you do the addition. Okay, that's the way that step works. So sometimes that can mess students up when they try to divide first, or when they try to multiply first, they get confused on what they're doing. Okay, so that right there is Pemdas. Here it is. E-M-D-A-S. Pemdas. In your book, in your math book, you'll see the word Pemdas written out. I don't love the word Pemdas, but if you look at it, they do put that they're together. Okay, they do put a little thing there, and they do tell you that they're together. I like to learn it like this: step 1, step 2, step 3, step 4. Boom, you got it. Don't even worry about that Pemdas, because that thing's gonna mess you up a little bit. I just promise you that it will. Okay, and so take some time, learn this. If you don't know this, you need to put this to memory right here, or else you are really gonna struggle to get the correct answer. Okay, well, let's do one of these. Let's try one and see what happens. Let's do 21 divided by 7 plus 2, parenthesis 5 minus 3, parenthesis minus 2. All right. Now, one thing that I always like to do is I always like to take these step by step. Okay? Step by step. And so what you want to do is you want to go back to your order of operation. And a lot of times with order of operation, I call it O of O, okay? And so that's my order of operation. So order of operation is O of O. So if you ever see me do this, you're gonna know what I'm doing. That little weird face means order of operation. So that'll help you maybe to remember that, order of operation. So I go back to my order of operation. It says parentheses first. So I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find my parentheses. There we go. We got some parentheses. And so I am going to do inside of the parentheses first. So all of this other stuff right here and right here, I'm just going to copy it down. I'm not going to do anything to it. I'm just going to copy it down. Another mistake that students make is they try to do all this in one step and get it all confused. No, stop doing that. You're messing yourself up. 21 divided by 7 plus 2. Now let's do the parentheses. 5 minus 2, 5 minus 3 is 2 minus 2. Okay? And so then we're going to go to the next step. The next step is exponents. Step number 2 is exponents. Well, good news. I do not see any exponents, so we don't have to do anything in that step. That was the easiest step ever in the history of the world, so that's good. All right, so step 3, multiply or divide from left to right. So we're going to go back and look. I always do this. I like to do this. Okay, I know some of you don't do it because you're lazy and you don't want to do it. But I underline what I'm doing next, and I do it piece by piece. Okay, and so I would do that piece first right there. And so 21 divided by 7, okay, it's 3 plus, I could even do this right now in the same step, because it is one step. Step number 3 is multiply or divide from left to right. So that's the next one I come to. And look, we have a multiplication problem right there because there's no sign. We talked about that yesterday with the parentheses. And so we have 2 times 2. So we could put 4, and then we put that minus 2. All right, and now it looks like we have all of our multiplication done, and so we're going to come down to this step, add or subtract. Last step, add or subtract. Change the color again, and so we're just going to add or subtract this, so we'll start with that because it comes first, whichever one comes first. And we have 3 plus 4 is 7, and then we have minus 2, and then we have 7 minus 2 is 5, so that is our answer. 5 is our answer. All right, I'll do one more just to kind of help you out, do one more example, and then we'll be done for today. So let's do one with exponents this time. So 3 squared times 2 cubed plus 1. All right, so there's our problem. This is not that difficult of a problem because we're going to use Pemdas. We are going to use order of operation to solve it. So the first one of our order of operation is parentheses first. So let's solve inside of the parentheses. Now this is interesting. So inside of the parentheses, now we have more operations going on. So what do you always do? Well, you always follow order of operations inside of the parentheses. So if you notice, we have inside of the parentheses, we have an exponent. So since that's the next step here, exponents is next, so we're going to do our exponents inside. So let's do 3 squared outside, parenthesis, and let's start solving the inside. 2 cubed. What is 2 cubed? 2 times 2 times 2. Okay? 2 cubed is 8. 2 times 2, 4. 4 times 2 is 8. So 8 plus 1. We didn't even solve the parentheses yet. We're just starting to solve the parentheses. So we still have another step right here with step number 1, parentheses. We have to solve them. So now we'd have 3 squared times, or parenthesis, 8 plus 1 times 9. Okay? And now we're going to go, now we solve the parenthesis. And you say, well, why'd you leave the parenthesis? Because we can't do this. We can't write it like this. That's not going to work. Because remember, it's a multiplication because we have the parentheses. So I'm going to leave the parenthesis until I multiply. So we just got done with parentheses, so we're going to move on now to step number 2, exponents. So let's do that exponent right here. What's 3 squared? That means 3 times 3, and that equals 9. And so we're going to say 9 times 9. Okay, remember order of operations still, well, I mean, it's the only thing that's left, but order of operations would tell us that we do the multiplication next. It's the only thing left. And so we are going to get 9 times 9. We're going to get 81 for an answer there. Okay? All right, there it is, order of operations. Hopefully you kind of understood, you followed what was going on there. Hope you have a good rest of your day. We will see you later.